Good evening.
Hey, Alan.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you also.
Can you believe it?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
I hope Santa gets some downtime.
He had a little bit of downtime. I went down to the Cape a few days.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's a busy season. I had 85 appearances.
Yikes. Wowza. Well, Emily was so disappointed that because Archer got sick the day of the race. She was
yeah.
so disappointed. I said, well, he would have been happy just to see you.
That's true. Yeah, we had a good turnout for that. It was nice.
Yeah, it is. That's always a nice thing.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Good
Hey,
evening,
to you
Tom.
as well.
Joyce, I love that backdrop.
Oh, that's all gingerbread houses.
Yeah.
I make gingerbread houses. I've been making gingerbread houses for
What is that
100 years, I think. And I always used to design them all myself and all that stuff. But now I just buy a kit and do it with the kids and say, okay, this is it. Isn't that cute?
100 years, they must be getting stale.
Yeah, they were. I used to keep them in the barn for a while, thinking that because they were, I mean, there was so much work, and all this stuff. I think, oh, well, I'll put it in the barn and keep it there. But yeah, that didn't work.
All right, so since all board members are here, I think we can begin. So
Okay.
before we begin, I do have an introduction to our remote meeting. This open meeting of the Mendon Board of Health is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's updated guidance on holding meetings pursuant to the act extending certain COVID-19 measures that was signed into law on June 16, 2021. This act includes an extension until March 31st, 2023 of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12th, 2020 executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as the reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Mendon Board of Health is convening by video telephone conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. This meeting will feature public comment. With that being said, the time is now 6:31. I'll hand it over to the chairman of the board, Alan Greenberg.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for attending. It looks like we got a good group tonight. We're going to start with the first agenda item. I believe maybe Joyce might want to speak on this, the Lake Nipmuc Association update.
Well, I've been trying to deal with the state. I've been trying to make sure that that I know everything that's right and that we can do legally and that sort of thing. I had talked to Wayne, and we were talking about having a systematic septic system dying, and how to run it and what to do. And I tried to call, I think it's David Boyer, several times, and finally today I got an answer from Marielle Stone, and I was speaking to her. She's like high in the directory there, and she said, well, she was going to a meeting. She wanted to get back to me because she saw that I had called and I had left a message telling her what I was interested in. She said that she really wasn't perfectly sure of all the facts, but she would get back to me. So I said, okay, but again, we're concerned about the cleanness, and we want to keep the lake pristine. And Wayne and I were, just talking about how do you do this? And I think you need to do it like with an army of, have a lot of people get together and just go around and do things and get the, septic systems checked and find out which have been pumped recently. We've been trying to do that. So she's going to get back to me, and she sounded more interested as well than the person who didn't call back at all. So that's my update, which is not very good of an update, but I'm working on it, because we were talking about doing it like in March, because if it gets really cold, I don't think it would work well. Things would freeze and you wouldn't be able to do it. And so we were talking about having a march in March.
I like it. No, that's very good. And like I said, during my off time, so to speak, I'd be more than happy to meet you in the office for a short period of time and help you, start at the beach and work out to the left and work out to the right.
Right. Yeah.
And come up with some kind of a updated situation as to what type of system and when it was last pumped, and the point of contact as far as ownership
Right.
of property, or who's living in the property if it's different,
Right.
so that we'll have all that in place.
Right.
Because if we want to do that early in March, weather permitting, we probably want to notify these people in
Correct.
February, so
Correct.
that they have, at least a 30-day notification to
Right.
be, respectful of, people who
Right.
may have, some of those homes may be only seasonally occupied. I believe a lot of them are occupied year round at this
Right.
point. 30-day notice would probably be adequate.
Right. I agree. That is exactly what was my thought. But again, I just, I'm like wanting to have all my ducks in a row. So I don't want us to make an error or do something that's not going to be right, so I want to make sure that, we're going according to the rules and regulations. And I mean, I tend to be an optimist and say, well, of course, everybody that's on the lake is going to want to have their septic system tested to make sure that it's good.
No, very good. Wayne, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think it's great that we're working together on this, because this has been an item of concern for quite a while. I mentioned it to some of the Lake Association people. Some are afraid of a little pushback, like Joyce just said. And others said that it would be a good chance for us to go out with Board of Health and really get people to know more about what the Lake Association is and what it stands for. So, honestly, I've heard from about 5 people. I put it out to the whole membership, and I only heard back from a few people. So, at our next meeting, I'd certainly like to bring it up again. I guess my question is, because I've had different answers on this, but does the Board of Health, I mean, legally, can you go into people's homes and require that this testing be done, especially where it affects the lake?
Well, this is exactly why I've been trying to contact the state. Exactly. That is the main question that I mean, again, I would think that we would be able to require that as a requirement, that we require that they have to have their septic system pumped every 2 years. We require that the tight tanks have to be done in a certain way, so, but again, that's why I've been calling, I was calling the other fellow, just calling the other fellow now. I bet I called him at least once a week, and I didn't get an answer. So then I said, well, I'm going to go, which looked like I was going to a higher position up, So, and I started that in the end of last week, I started that. So she called me back today, which was good.
hmm
So I'm hoping that she's going to give me those answers, Wayne, because
Yeah,
by all means, I don't want to have a hissy fit with anybody or anybody to
right.
have a hissy fit with me or bring out
hmm
their 22 and whatever. That's definitely not part of what I'm thinking I want to be doing.
Right,
So
All right,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
make sure that bing, bang, boom, and then we can go out and do whatever.
right.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to reach out to Tom now. Tom, just want to let you know I had a conversation with Jack this morning, and there is extra money in the budget for the extra and extended lake testing that you've been an advocate of, and I know Lonnie was behind that. So I just wanted to let you know that I confirmed that today, talking with Jack. What's your 2 cents on this topic?
No, it's great. Just a question and a suggestion. So Wayne, just curious, how big is the association? How big is the membership?
Well, it's growing all the time. When I first started just a few years ago, we used to meet in the portable classroom over at the beach, and there were probably 3 or 4 of us. We're up now, our monthly meetings, we probably get between 30 and 40, sometimes close to 50 people. So
Awesome.
there is a lot of concern about
As
like
well,
Joyce says.
yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Can I ask, amongst that association, is there a good representation of the people who actually own properties on the lake?
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is it's nice to know that in addition to owning property on the lake, they're also actively participating in the association, which
Right.
kind of helps kind of confirm, hey, they do have as much of a concern, and they're not
Right.
just kind of like, hey, we have a piece of property on a nice lake, and you know what I mean?
No,
So that's
no,
good.
that's,
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, we've already talked, some people have talked, already about having a lake cleanup day in April. There'll be more information on that, but, no, I think that the people, I think the population around the lake has changed. Like Ellen was saying, it's not so much seasonal houses anymore. I can only think of a few. So as these transformations have taken place, whether or not the septic system has been upgraded along with the house, I mean, that's one, I guess, one of my main concerns. But I just want to go
Right.
back to something else that Alan said about the testing. For the last several years, I don't know, we've almost been like 2 entities doing testing. We did testing around the lake. We used one company, and you used another one, primarily over at the beach. I'd really like to, I think that our money would be much more well spent if we worked together and had one testing company come in and did everything, all at once, rather than you do it on one week and we with one company and you do it on another. I think this is something we should really work together to do, rather than do it with 2 different companies, because then we get 2 different sets of results that come in.
Mhm.
And one week can make a big difference in the results, the findings that come in. So I'd kind of like us all work together on the testing.
Well, I would advocate that actually the BOH take the lead in that. And
Mhm.
actually, if it's okay with the Lake Association, let the lead come from BOH in terms of mapping out the testing and, working with a particular company that's going to come in to do the testing.
Mhm.
And then, add any input in the process that you'd like to do. But I would say let BOH take on the testing. As Alan
Okay.
indicated, we have it in our budget
Right.
to
Yep.
do it. So that would be what I would want to advocate. I would throw it out
Mhm.
to others to comment, but
Are
The
you
ele-
happy with the system you have now with the testing company that you have? I mean, I don't know much about that one. The one we used is now down in Rhode Island. They moved from Westboro to Rhode Island that we were using.
So therein lies the question. I guess what we would want to do is, and this may be where Jack comes into play as our day-to-day person, confirm with the company that we anticipate using for the coming season, and I'm assuming it's the same one, and explain to them, if it hasn't already been explained, that we want to expand the testing protocols that have
Mhm.
currently been utilized in the past, and we want to get a testing protocol in place for the entire lake. And so the question would be, hey, can you folks handle that? And if they can, great, and just map out the particulars and the details, the schedule and so forth, the locations,
Right.
logistics. If
Right.
they can't, then maybe we need to look at another company, for example, maybe the company that you folks use, as long as
Right.
the only requirement that we would have as a Board of Health is it does have to be a state certified lab in order for the results to have any kind of weight
Absolutely.
to be utilized, yeah.
The one that we were using was actually nationally certified. So I'm, but again, if with the outfit that you have, if that's working and working well, then by all means, I just think we could all get in line and do this one, in one testing procedure for the whole year, rather than have two different people coming in and doing testing here and not there, and testing for this and not for that.
No, I agree. We should centralize it and make it detailed the way we draft the details of the type of testing that we want to see implemented for the things that we have concerns about, with the
Right.
water quality. Yeah.
Hey, Alan?
Yes, thank you. No, absolutely, Wayne. We would like to avoid duplication,
Right.
so that we don't waste any resources. I like Tom's idea of having the Board of Health take the lead on it with the Lake Nipmuc Association, advocating for locations that you feel may be problem areas where you have the greatest familiarity with the geography of the lake. So as far as mapping out where the testing sites are gonna be. So I think, between the two entities working together, we should be able to, efficiently get it done. And, avoid duplication and wasted resources. Maybe in the meantime, Jack could find someone to maybe advise us, whether it be someone who worked on that report that was done in 2021. Maybe a meeting so that we could get some professional advice on testing sites, where they studied the lake and studied the depths and the currents and the whole bit. Maybe we could get a little bit of advice from them or someone similar to that, in setting up where we want our locations to be. And as far as who we choose to do the testing, it would certainly be nice to have a budgetary number of what it would cost to accomplish what we want to accomplish, just to make sure that the funds that we've allotted are going to get us through the season without any surprises. Thank you very much. Anybody else care to comment?
TL? Go ahead, TL.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I appreciate what you're doing with asking the residents about proof of testing every 2 years or so. I'm just hoping that we can make sure that water basins are going to be directly tested, and pay close attention to what's going on with those, from streets that are running by, businesses associated with the streets, things like that.
Yeah, I think that that's a really important thing to do because of all of the inlets to the lake. I think that those areas need to be tested for sure.
Right.
Whether they be, from the Kinsey Lane and that, all sides.
Yeah, all over
Definitely,
Kinsley,
yeah,
Taft,
yeah,
all
I
over
definitely
Millville.
agree. Uxbridge
Yeah,
Road,
we
Yeah.
definitely need to
Yeah.
study that and take a
Yeah.
close look at that because, runoff and how those basins operate,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
And not
guess that
testing.
once we hire a professional company, they'll know enough to identify those areas and
right.
And all
I
the
also,
testings that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Joy.
I also have a contact from the DOT that I was going to talk to that person about some of the things that look like they need to be really upgraded. The inlets, from the road, from the street on Route 16. And they're going to be doing, the road's going to be done over. So I think before the road's done over and we keep the same, problems that I'd like to do something, talk to them about keeping the lake pristine.
that's my concern. I'd hate to see all this work done prior to this team, all your efforts, being able to come up with answers so that we're not having to redo things and at whose expense,
Right. I agree.
doing things in order. So thanks for
Yeah.
all the work you're doing to help keep the lake clean because it is one of the only valuable resources this town has, water.
And it's people.
Here, here.
Yeah,
Right,
you're
Tom?
right.
Go ahead, Tom.
I didn't get a chance to actually put out the suggestion I had mentioned. So in addition to the question I posed to Wayne, Joyce, the suggestion I had with regard to the legality aspect that Wayne touched on. Two avenues. One might be the MAHB, which is the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards.
Yeah.
They're kind of you may be familiar with them. They're the state
Yeah.
organization that helps local boards of health with regard to legal aspects in terms of what they have the power to do and not to do.
Right.
That's actually a group I actually consulted when we had the first rooster issue, and kind of taking the direction that we had and kind of working with under the aspect of it being a health nuisance.
Right.
And being able to correct that and determining the authority that the Board of Health had in that situation.
Right.
So that could be a group that could touch base with. I could shoot you probably a contact name.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd like
And
that.
then the only other thing I might suggest, and if it would be prudent at this point, is of course the town has its own legal advisory group. Cindy's our rep. So if we want to go to town council with the
Yeah.
concept and see what their take is on it from that perspective. Just a thought.
It's a
Yeah,
good one.
well,
It's important.
I'm thinking that that's a great idea, that I had sort of forgotten about that, the health board thing. And not to diminish the legal team, but, I think that I'd start with the people who work with it directly and then just say, this is what we found out, blah, blah, blah. Do you see any problem with that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I understand that.
Yeah.
Just a note too for Tisha. I don't know if you're aware, Tisha, that the term stormwater came up in the last dialogue. So we do have a stormwater task force in town. I don't know if you're aware of that. So as kind of if we're going to talk about the stormwater aspect, is this an opportunity to also engage the stormwater task force? And we do have a contact at the state level that is part of that. Maybe that would help in this situation as well.
Right.
Yeah, I would think maybe they should be present on this since it was on the agenda.
Yeah, they probably weren't in the loop on this yet. Typically, the stormwater task force has kind of worked in a little different capacity for the town the last few years. It was kind of designed to kind of help communities, help with design, more from the standpoint of roadway work So the bulk of it really went toward the highway department. But this could be a nice little lead-in to expanding that whole concept, because it really kind of falls in the same vein, especially since I do believe part of the exposure to the lake is stormwater, to be quite honest with you. So
It seemed so from, where the test levels are so high down in that corner where, down by Route 16 in that little cove
Right.
by Old Taft Ave, it's sort of, a lot of the older houses actually have been replaced down in that area now with big new homes with new systems. There's still quite a few older homes, but it's kind of seems sort of obvious to a degree that it's a serious area that needs to be really closely looked
Oh,
at.
it's definitely, Wayne and I were talking about that the other day, that area, for sure,
That's the place
it-
that always gets,
Yeah.
when we test, that's the area that gets the highest consistent
yeah,
negative.
testing, right,
Right.
yeah. Yeah,
And so
Well,
now
there
there's
was-
not only still older houses in that area, but there's, new businesses uphill from that area. So there's a lot
Right.
going on there.
Mhm.
right, yeah, that's definitely on my docket.
I don't know, Wayne, if you actually saw the video that Dan had taken 2 or 3 months back or so, when we had that, maybe even been a little further back, we had those nasty rains. And he happened to capture the what was happening in the cove with that outlet pipe that drains into that cove from the outside. He
Yeah,
said it
no, I didn't
looked
see
like,
it.
yeah, it looked like Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I think there's work underway to correct that
Yeah.
particular basin. And I believe that there are entities that are gonna make sure that that is corrected.
Yeah.
What
No,
would,
no,
what
I'd
would
like to
that
see that.
be?
I
How-
don't know.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I know that right now it's just like a straight shot from the street right into the lake. I don't know if it would require filters in there or
Well, that
restructuring.
I was just, yeah, I was just gonna say, they would, because technology is so advanced now, I mean, before they would just be a big pipe that came down and drained everything from, no matter where, it could be anything, oil spills, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. But now, there's more technology for filtering and,
Mhm.
doing that sort of thing, so,
And I
yeah.
think testing would go along with that as well, so that it,
Correct.
in addition to seeing the flow come into the lake from there to isolate the source.
Right,
Yeah, as long as
Yeah.
we know that that the storm water in and of itself doesn't necessarily mean it's contaminated. It could
Correct.
be a clean element, because the
Right.
catch
Mhm.
basin could be, capturing all of the
Right,
components that we'd want to capture,
right,
but we
right.
don't know. That's
Right.
the issue. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alan? Get yourself off mute.
Thank you. Um, if only because of the time constraints and the fact we have other folks on the line, if everyone has commented on this, I'd like to move on to the next issue so that we can get some of our attendees the opportunity to speak. So it looks like we're good. We're gonna
Thank
move
you.
on. We're gonna move on to number 2, the rooster noise nuisance at 19 Neck Hill Road. I don't know who'd like to comment on that first. Jack, was it a written complaint?
Yeah, it was an email, and then we do have Mr. Green online.
Okay. Do you want to inform us exactly what or close as you can, what the written complaint was, and then we'll allow comment?
Sure, let me just find that email.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
All right, Richard Green emailed me and Ann Mazzarelli. He said in his email, we believe that we need assistance from the Board of Health again. There is another rooster crowing at 19 Neck Road. We have been hearing it crowing for a couple of weeks now between the hours of 4 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. most mornings, and we're hoping that the owner did something on his own to take care of the problem, but the noise continues. I will await your response. That was on December 14th. I've been in touch with him. I asked him how the situation was on the 22nd of December. He said, thank you for reaching out. I was waiting to respond after Christmas. Yes, the crowing still continues. It's between the hours of 4:15 and 6 o'clock in the morning daily. And that's when I said I will put it on the Board of Health agenda. I did try to have Danielle take a look at it this Tuesday, but we had a housing issue that took precedence and she was dealing with that all day on Tuesday.
Okay, I
And-
did try to
And
go by.
I went there, God, I don't know one day from the next all of a sudden, but I stopped and there was nobody home, but I did see the chicken coop. But I didn't see the rooster, and of course, it was in the afternoon, so, and I didn't want to, stick around there and without anybody being there, so, and I hadn't had a chance to go back, talk to them.
Have we had an opportunity to contact the homeowner and or resident of the home?
No, we have not.
Okay, so that's one thing that we can do directly from the Board of Health, and make sure that they're aware that there is a complaint. Other than that, if you'd raise your hand, we'll definitely call on you and give you an opportunity to speak. I'm gonna let Jack coordinate that, please.
All right, I'm going to do Richard Green first, then Tom Fickner second.
Yeah, thank you. We started hearing the noise problem, the crowing, about mid-November, as Jack said. It continued just about every day. Just recently, we hear it about 2:15 a.m. and then other times 4 o'clock, then 6:30 thereabouts. But the last week has been a little bit sporadic. And to us, from past experience, it almost sounds like maybe it's multiple roosters because the crowing or the noise isn't the same. Sometimes it sounds real strong. Sometimes it sounds a little bit muffled. So we don't know what it is, but we continue to hear the noise problem.
Tom?
Hey, Richard, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, good, good. So we have another noise issue in the area, huh?
Yep.
Let me ask, is this resident, have they been there a while? Do you have any connection with them out of curiosity?
They've been here since about March of 21. I believe.
Okay, so
They've
fairly
been
new.
here, yeah. They had roosters in the past. And the animal control, Sullivan, I believe his name at the time, I don't know if he's still around.
Yeah,
Kinda
Kevin
went there and
Sullivan.
they took care of the problem. Then it
Okay.
started across the street from that, if you remember.
Yep, yeah, at 18, okay. I kind of
Yep.
recollected 19 at one time having a reported rooster problem at one time, and it seemed like it had gone away, but it sounds like it's back again.
Right, and that's why we thought this time, once the crowing was going on, they kind of say, okay, let's take care of this on their own.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was just curious what if there was any kind of relationship there, or if there was any, I was curious how long the resident had been in the neighborhood as well, if it was a new resident or if they'd been there a while, that's all.
Yeah, just since March of 21.
Okay, I would concur with, your thought, Alan, that I think the first thing, you could simply reach out directly, make them aware of what we received and see what kind of mitigating action that, they can take to kind of help the neighbors there a little bit and kind of eliminate the crowing. So those early morning hours,
Alan?
Yes, and the other thing that I would include with the letter is the suggestions on how to properly house and care for a rooster. So that way there, we're not only letting them know that they're bothering the neighbors because the rooster is not cooperating, but they also have the possible fix for the situation. So they can't tell us that all we did was tell them that there was a complaint. And, you know, obviously they must know if they've had Kevin Sullivan respond to their home in the past. They must be aware that when the rooster's not cooperating, that they're disturbing their neighbors. So this really shouldn't be a surprise to them, especially if they live at the residence. They must be hearing the rooster too. So, you know, hopefully that will get some action. And I would actually ask them to respond to us as far as what they propose to do. So that way there we know they got the letter, they read the letter, and they responded to us. And if in a reasonable amount of time we do not get a response, then we need to escalate it up a notch. Thank you.
All right, Tom?
I'm curious, Jack, I don't know if you'd had an opportunity. Do we have anything on file from the previous visit to that residence on this issue?
What, 19 neck yell?
Yeah.
I can look in old files.
Yeah, Kevin Sullivan may not report back to us where he's animal control and not the animal inspector.
No,
So,
true. Yeah,
if
I
you
just
got
didn't know if you
email-
would any feedback with Missy in the past on the issue out of courtesy. That might have been some document that might have ended up in the folder or in the computer on it. I was just curious.
I just want to make sure that this doesn't drag on as long as some of the other rooster issues have. We need to get this one silenced fairly quickly.
I'd almost want to advocate a phone call directly versus the letter as the first course of action, to be honest with you.
Fine with me. We can do both. But I definitely want to see a response in a reasonable amount of time.
Agreed.
Joyce?
Yeah, yeah. I agree too, you know, it's, and I don't mind going over there, but as I said, I did stop one day and when you first told me about it, because I said, oh no, not that. And so I stopped over, but there was a car there, but there was no one there. And then I went by another day and there were like 3 cars there, but I was kind of busy. I had just come home from going to the grocery store and I had a load of groceries. So I thought, well, I better not do that.
Okay, Alan, final word.
I just want to make sure that everyone has had an opportunity to speak on this topic.
Richard, are you okay with the direction?
Yes,
Excuse me, that we're proposing?
yes, thank you. Again, as we talked before, it's the noise. I don't care if he has 16 of them, but just don't bother us, you know?
All right, we do have Ann Mazzarelli with her hand raised. Ann?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm personally not really bothered by it because we're across the street and the rooster is behind their house. But I absolutely can sympathize with Dick because it's, you know, as you know, from what we went through here, to have that, you know, wake you up at 2 or 3 in the morning is just absolutely horrible. And if it keeps lingering on and on. So I think it's a great idea if you guys, you know, do make a phone call to escalate it, get it going sooner than as soon as possible. Just my 2 cents from experience. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Okay, I don't believe there's any other comments on this topic.
All right, so
Nick?
we have a plan of action and we will put that in motion. And I would say that If you don't get anybody on the phone call to respond and you send the letter, I'm thinking 7 days as a response time before we bump it up.
Okay,
Sounds good to
Thank
me.
you.
All right. Next topic is an update on Imperial Plaza manganese water testing.
yeah, so Massachusetts DEP reached out to the Board of Health to let us know that the plaza was exceeding the manganese levels. They also reached out to the owners of the plaza itself and gave them some information on what they needed to do. I did speak with John Nennett, who's in charge of the property. He did make notice of the, let's see here, I'm just going through the email. He did make notice of the drinking water advisory around the plaza. He has provided the Board of Health information of providing such notice. He did come in this morning to let me know that Mass DEP did reach out to him again, saying that that the retest was lower, below the standards, or the exceedance rather. So it's in good condition right now, but they need to add a filter, and DEP has suggested 2 filters for them to install in there, in the process of working on that as we speak. So as of now, the situation is being handled. Tom?
Yeah, and I just want to mention, just for those on the call that may not know, in this particular situation, this is a site that has a, what we would call a public water supply versus a private well. And because it's classified as a public water supply, the oversight is through the Department of Environmental Protection versus the local Board of Health. We do get notified and updated when DEP does get involved in local entities, but the direct oversight is pretty much DEP. And I just wanted to, it's kind of an FYI for everybody out there. Thank you.
Joyce, any comments?
No, I did talk to John myself as well. And I have my, I mean, I think I'm probably in the same aquifer as he, so I have my water tested. We have filters, iron filters, because of the iron, hugeness of iron. So I have mine tested like every 2 years, and I'm thinking I probably am due again. So I just want to make sure that, you know, everything's working in my area too, because again, we're in this, I think, you know, you as well, Tom, probably are in the same aquifer as he, so.
Yeah,
Alan?
great suggestion. Thank you.
Alan?
Yes. Which property is this exactly, where there are so many up there owned by Mr. Meehan?
Right across the street where the Muffin House is.
Okay, so this is the Hood Plaza property.
Yeah,
Okay, and the well is over by the end of the building where Subway is. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. For
Yeah,
some reason,
yeah.
I was under the impression it might be the gas station property. I wasn't sure based on the LLCs, et cetera, which property
Yeah.
this was.
right.
So this is the Hood Plaza property. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a comment on this topic? I'm gonna say no more conversations on this topic.
All right, let's move on to the annual report.
Okay, the annual report's due in a few weeks. I sent everybody a draft for their reviews and edits. Tom and I have sat down together. I've made most recent edits is what you guys have in hand. So I'm just looking to get your reviews and edits so I can get it over to Laura.
I thought it was very well done.
I agree, and I should have known Tom had a hand in it. Now,
Thank
teamwork.
you.
Teamwork.
That's
No, no,
teamwork.
really, I was very impressed.
I stayed up all night rewriting the whole thing. No, just kidding. Jack, you did a great job, buddy.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
no, Good, great,
Yeah.
great teamwork. Thought it was very well done. Thank you.
So-
Just out of curiosity, Jack, because I don't remember seeing the actual final draft in the packet that I last got. That includes, and I believe you did, this includes the typical rundown of all the numbers for all the categories, right? The licensing, how many licenses, permits, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's on the last page.
Okay, thank you.
Did you look at your email?
I did. I just looked at it a second ago. The only thing I saw was the Imperial Plaza thing.
No, no. You should have number 4, BOH Town Report Draft,
Which was the date of that email, out of curiosity?
last Friday.
Yeah, Friday morning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Is
should
there-
have
are
like,
there-
you should have
are there
like 7
multiple-
attachments.
Are there multiple tabs? Oh, multiple attachments?
Yes.
Oh, 2 only showed. They must have been hiding the rest of them. I got it. Thank you. I hate that word hide.
All right, so I will wait so Tom can get another second review of the final draft.
No,
before I-
I'm good. I'm
Are
good.
you good with it?
I'm good. I trust you.
All right, so I have all 3 blessings to send it over to Laura.
There
Absolutely.
you go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you'll get struck by lightning pretty soon.
All right, so the next topic is the senior discount process, fiscal year versus calendar year, and how we determine when a senior discount for trash is implied. I'll hand that over to Tom.
Oh, thank you. So the reason this ended up on the agenda, Joyce and Alan, is because in the discussion I was having with Jack about how we currently handle those folks that turn 65 when that particular year is in play. I think how we've been doing it is, for example, and Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, because this contract runs fiscally from January or from July 1 to June. If somebody turns 65, say after July 1, I believe we've typically waited until the next cycle of the contract before we have put them into the discount program.
Correct.
And my view is that I didn't think that was really fair into the spirit of the discount program itself, meaning that if somebody turns 65, say after July 1, I would think they'd have an opportunity on the very next billing cycle to then receive the rebate or the discount, as opposed to having to wait until the next contract year. That's why I kind of brought up the topic. So looking for
Alan?
thoughts on that.
Alan?
My only hesitation on that is when we calculate the subscriber fee, I believe we're taking into consideration the number of people that are getting the senior discount, because obviously the subscribers that are paying full rate have to pick up some of that to show the seniors respect. So we're setting, I guess it all depends upon when we're setting that rate. And we're setting that rate for July 1st through June 30th.
Correct.
So that's the only hesitation that I have. I understand exactly what you're saying, Tom.
Mhm.
The other thing is, if we're going to use the census to determine who gets the opportunity for the senior discount, that census is coming out, I believe, in February. And we're trying to get all that information together so that we can get our bills out in April or May for July, because we have to get all that information to the billing company. So I just wonder if we'll jam ourselves up trying to be that exact.
If I may interject.
Please.
Please.
All right. So I was speaking with Ellen, trying to work through this process where we were first discussing the senior discount. She said she usually sends out the census, usually the second or third week of January, and they have 10 days to return it. So by mid-February, all census by the town of Mendon residents should be in. But say they are stragglers, so let's say now it's in March. Once that information is input into the database that she controls, she can send me a report of anybody that is 65 and over in an Excel spreadsheet, in which I can import into the billing cycle. So it wouldn't take that much time, and maybe be like an hour or so. It wouldn't be more than 2 hours. Once I have Ellen's report to determine who is 65 and apply the senior discount rate to the trash billing. And I can get that done by the end of March.
Correct.
And where billing would need to go to Kelly and Ryan for June, so April, May, by May. So we basically have a couple of weeks in April if we needed to.
Right, but that doesn't catch the people that Tom's talking about that in August are going to turn 65.
No, for her census, they have the date of birth on the census.
Right.
So I can do a calculation on the date of birth for the whole entire year, and she can show me, because she's done this report for me before. She sent me a report so far already, like in November. She already sent me a census currently for everybody that's got to turn 65 in 2023. So if they were born in January 2023 or December 2023, they're on that report.
Okay, when you said that you'd get the list of everyone that's 65, I thought it was a list of everyone that's 65 as of the date of that report.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't realize that you had the ability to calculate forward.
Yes. So it's basic. Yeah. So basically, it's all the residents of the census. So everybody, regardless of how old they are, if the census is returned, I'm going to have their date of birth, where I can run a script in Excel and saying, all right, it's 2023. Show me who's going to be 65 or older in 2023, and it's going to spit out all the names and addresses of who's going to be 65, regardless of what month in 2023.
Okay, so that will catch the people from July 1st to December 31st.
Correct.
Okay, so we won't catch them all, Tom, but we'll catch the majority of them.
Right. Yeah, the idea was to try to get, those folks without having them wait another whole, year or what have you, try to get them in that 6-month cycle. That was kind of the.
Yeah, no, that'll
the
definitely
goal.
do that. If it's July 1st to December 31st of 2023, that what Jack is describing will capture that.
Yep.
And allow us that when we set the rate, to set the rate accurately so that we're not overcharging people.
Right.
Nope, that's fine. I'm on board with that.
Joyce?
Definitely. And if they don't fill out the census, oh, well.
Correct. If they don't fill out the census, then I'm sorry, you can't have the discount.
That's the key part. Actually, that's a requirement of the senior discount form. It's
Right.
actually listed there.
Yeah. And she did say it is going to be written on the census that in order to receive the senior discount for trash and recycling, the census had to be returned back. So it is on the census itself that it has to be returned back to get the discount.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'm glad that there are people out there much smarter than me that know how to filter and capture this information, because I'd be there trying to do it longhand.
The abacus is still a great tool, Alan.
Yeah, if you can count.
But we
Right,
all have our skills,
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right now, Jack is shining.
Yeah, you're no kidding. I love it.
It's my new light in the office, so it's good.
There
I
you
love
go.
it.
No,
All right,
that's fantastic. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment that anybody would like to speak up to regarding this topic? Okay, I am not seeing any other hands being raised, so we're going to move on. The next topic is the proposed update to dumpster regulations. And again, I'm going to hand it over to Tom.
So this is kind of a follow-up to our last meeting when we approved implementation of our dumpster regulations. And I had mentioned on the call, maybe it was the second to last meeting, after the discussion we had toward the end of that, I had mentioned an addendum or a change that I'd like to see implemented right away. And now that the dumpster regulations are enforceable, they went into effect as of January 1 this year. I'd like to see if the board members want to approve my proposed addition to that regulation.
I definitely do.
I'm on board also.
Jack, do you want to read what that is so the folks that are listening are aware what we're looking to do?
Sure, the proposed addition to the dumpster regulations is going to include only materials generated on the property can be placed into dumpster/container. No materials generated from other properties can be accepted to a dumpster/container which is not located on the property from which the materials originated. That is the
Second.
proposed regulation.
Second the motion.
Who motioned?
Oh, I thought you did. I thought that was what that was.
That was my discussion. And that actually, just an added note, that actually falls in line with the discussion I had with Jim McQuaid at DEP on the topic. Kind of falls in line with their view of the situation from a state level. He thought that would help tremendously to have that at the local level from our perspective. So that was part of the impetus on putting that out there.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact procedure is to get this put in play, but I'm on board.
I would say it's a matter. I would say it's just a matter of voting. If the majority of the board, somebody makes a motion and majority approves, then it's just a matter of writing it into the regulation and updating it.
I make a motion that we update the dumpster regulations to place under D general as number 1. Only materials generated on the property can be placed into the dumpster/container. No materials generated from this other properties can be accepted to the dumpster/container, which is not located on the property from which the materials have originated.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 We're on board.
Sounds good.
Thank
Jack,
you.
I would just, I'm trying to think who to check with, but
Usually I
someone
go
who-
to Ellen. Usually I go with
Okay.
Ellen on this stuff.
Yeah, just to make sure that the procedure that we've taken is the correct one.
Yep.
I don't see why it wouldn't be, because we're not rewriting the regulations.
Correct.
I would just double check. And actually, I see that Lonnie's on the call, but I'm not used to him being so quiet. So let's see if he's really there. Lonnie, any comments?
Mhm.
No comments.
Are there any other public comments on this topic? I am not seeing any hands raised.
All right, let's move forward.
All right, next agenda on the item is the health agent vacancy update. Again, everybody has the packet. Mojin Solutions gave us a proposal to be the food establishment inspector. I didn't know if anybody had a good chance to review that at all.
I did not.
I reviewed it. I was questioning, can I say this?
Yeah, you can
I
talk.
mention it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was questioning the amounts, so routine inspection, risk-based one, $60 per inspection. That's for every restaurant that they do?
Correct.
So, I mean, that looks a little high, but I'm, I'm out of date. Truthfully, in every way.
Well, I did speak with who was our previous food inspector before
Lenny?
Danielle? Lenny,
Mr.
yes, I'm
Izzo?
sorry. His name escaped me. Yeah, Lenny Izzo. I spoke with Lenny Izzo. He is interested. So I also do have the job description that I sent to Shelley in HR and Kim for the town administration to get their eyes and blessing on it. But with the vacations, holidays, and budgets, they've haven't gotten back to me. But Lenny Izzo did express interest in becoming the food establishment inspector. So I didn't know how you wanted to proceed with that, or
I
what?
don't think the rates necessarily are really out of line with what is happening in the private sector in general, to be honest with you.
No,
Um,
I agree, especially if someone's responding to just one individual complaint. It's not like they're doing 4 or 5 restaurant inspections in the course of a half day period.
But wouldn't they do wouldn't they have a routine thing that they do? They're not just answering to complaints, right? They would have a
Right, but-
routine where they do it so many times
Right,
a year.
as I'm reading the menu,
Right.
I would say that in today's world, as Tom mentioned, the rates, that's
Yeah.
probably what it is.
Yeah,
Because
as I said, I'm out of date with it, so.
yeah, I mean,
Sure.
look,
Right.
call someone to respond to your home and
Yeah.
do a repair, and it's $100
Yeah.
to get them in the door
I know, yeah, I know, I'm
because of
just.
what everything costs, today. So-
I come from when I did all the inspections and it was, nobody got paid.
Right,
there.
right.
I was like, okay.
Joyce, you're hired.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
wait a minute, we're not getting paid now.
All right, Tom, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that, if we utilize this company or just in a discussion of rates in general, costs have been going up across the board on everything, right?
Right,
And it just may be, again, we try to keep costs as close to, in the general view, a zero-sum game as possible, right? When it comes to our department, we don't look to make money, but we have to cover expenses. And if
Right.
we find that in the course of utilizing this group or another group, if we find that the costs are getting to a point where the fees might need to be adjusted to cover that, like, the typical, the renewal permit fees for, restaurants and so forth that that have the inspections done. We might end up having to do that.
well,
Agreed.
I quite frankly, I liked all the things that they were doing, that they were going to do. I mean, that they were going to, they were equipped with their inspection software, computer, all that stuff, calibrated thermocouple and alcohol wipes and permanent high temperature registers and thermometers and, all of those things to me are, that's the industry now. That's what it takes to make sure that nobody's getting, going to be getting sick from poor, cleaning methods and stuff like that. So, I mean, I liked all of that.
Do we have any references out of curiosity, Jack, for this particular group from
Yeah,
anyone
I
in
think on
terms of
the
their
third, on the
performance?
last page there, yeah, there's City of Somerville, City of Lynn, City, Town of Bedford, Town of Arlington, City of Marlborough, Concord. You know, they've got all these, Andover, Canton, Sudbury, Belmont, Stoneham.
Well, I meant not so much where they say they've worked. I meant in terms of the feedback of their performance from people.
Well, they didn't send that to us, but I would say that, you know,
No, like, for example, it would be something we'd have to do. For example, we'd
Correct.
probably have to reach out to these reference people, like the town of Marlborough, the town, and say, hey, so-and-so, you know, we're
how
looking
do
at these
what they
folks.
do.
How well have they performed for you folks
Right,
over
yeah,
the, that's what I was kind of getting at.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have not reached out to those references.
Well, get on
Alan?
it, son.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Not that I want to add something else to burden your shoulders, but along with what Tom is saying, my suggestion would be to not only reach out to the Board of Health in the town of Marlborough, but also check out what their fees are for restaurant permits, temporary food permits, etc. Because obviously, I'm going to make the assumption that they're trying to do the same thing when they collect their fees to cover their costs. So if they're using these people and they're happy with them and their fees are similar to ours, then it should be a doable thing.
Okay.
And then the other thing we could do is, hey, you take them for a test drive. You know, we'll get feedback from our own people. You know, I
Right.
mean, we may
Yep.
get some, you know, hopefully some positive feedback from the restaurants, convenience stores, whoever they're doing the inspections. And again, if our fees are similar to Marlboro, just like us, they got to be making it work.
Right,
So
Yep,
that
that's
would
right.
be, if we decide to go that route, excuse me, that would be how I would proceed. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm thinking the same thing as Tom proposed before me.
Yeah, I
thought-
didn't think about that, but you're both absolutely right. Yeah, yeah.
Tom?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Great.
All
Any
right, so
public
a little,
comment?
little bit of research.
Yep, I'll do that. And on a side note, for the animal inspector, Danielle did express interest in being Minden's animal inspector.
Oh,
I
yay.
obviously it would be after her collaborative hours, so it would be after 4 p.m. So she just wanted me to let the board know that she would be interested in being the town of Minden's animal inspector. Thoughts?
Tom,
I'm happy. I think that's good.
have we posted that position?
That's part of the health agent job description right now as we speak.
Okay, because I would just want to make sure that everybody that might be interested had an opportunity to respond. So if it was posted and this is our only response, then I think we're good as far as HR would be concerned.
Yep.
The other thing is with the using these people to do our restaurant inspections, are we forgetting about the town of Hopedale? Not intentional, but
No, but I think that we can, I'm still in contact with her. And,
Okay.
And I think that I can tell her that we're thinking about this, you know, doing this because we really had nobody else that answered. And I think that, you know, I mean, we did have another person that answered, but, you know, I think that, You know, we.
Yeah, I
shouldn't-
just want to make sure we're not forgetting our partner town.
No, right, yeah, you know, I'm keeping in touch with her. I haven't talked to her since before the holidays, of course, but I will do that tomorrow, because I wanted to make sure what we were doing here, what we were talking about.
Okay, so
So-
after Jack does that research,
Yeah,
if everything seems to be in line, then the next thing that would be to, let Hopedale know what direction we're thinking about and see if
Right.
it would work for them also.
right.
Okay. And then I guess as far as the animal inspector portion of the job, Danielle is obviously already known to us. She's been doing the job on an interim basis, right? Because we had to actually formally sort of vote to give her that position on a temporary basis, right? Above and beyond what she does through the collaborative.
Correct.
So she's already on our books. So I'm fine with making it permanent as long as everything we've done is in line with HR.
Okay.
Tom?
Well, do we have any concerns with the limitation of the hours?
I already talked about that a little bit with Jack, and it sounds like in an emergency situation, she does have some flexibility. In other words, if we were to have a dog bite that needed a pretty immediate response, I would say that based on her work schedule, she has the availability equal to or better than what our former animal inspector had. Remember, he was coming from Northern Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, Max, yeah.
Right. Did a great
Yep.
job for us.
Yep.
Very knowledgeable. She is more available and more local.
Hmm.
So I don't think that's going to be an issue. We could have her come to a meeting.
Yeah, I did invite her to come on tonight, but she has something already scheduled for 7 o'clock. But I did tell her to let guys know that she is available for our next board meeting.
Okay. So why don't we make sure everything is good with HR?
Okay.
Have her come to our next meeting, ask any questions that we have of her, and we can take a vote on it.
So specifically, I think this particular position is a specified salaried position in our budget, correct?
Yes.
Is it a
And,
salaried position or the stipend position?
It's
I
a fixed number.
Because
Yeah, I
I thought
believe
it was the $2,500 for 6 months and another $2,500 for 6 months. So
Right.
$5,000.
Right.
correct.
So I don't know whether that's called salary or stipend.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
But yeah, but it's a fixed amount. It's
Yes.
an annual number paid in 2 payments.
Correct.
And that's the way it's always been, although we've bumped it up. I think since I came on board, we've actually almost doubled that number.
Yeah.
That sound right, Tom?
It does, yep.
So it's a fixed number for whatever happens during that 12 months.
Okay.
But, write your questions down. And when she comes to the next meeting, we will get clarification on anyone's questions, and then we can take a vote. She's already been doing the job. I think the only inquiry that I had was she had either sent a letter or left a note to a gentleman on Megan Court that has animals. Someone that I happen to know. He's in the same industry as I am. And he called me where he saw my name as chairman on the letterhead and asked me questions, and I explained what the purpose of the animal inspector was, and he was thrilled. No negatives. Just being new to town in the last couple of years and never having an animal inspection. He just was looking for some background information as to how it all worked and why we did it. So I haven't had any negative feedback from the work that she's done for us.
Joyce? Joyce, you're on mute.
I was sneezing and I didn't want
God bless you.
to interrupt your sneezing, my sneezing thing. Yeah, I haven't had much contact except personal contact when we were speaking together in the office, both 2 times, I think, Jack, right?
Yeah.
And she seems very knowledgeable, and she's, very easygoing, want to do what's right. And I was impressed with just her manner when I met her, but I don't know anything, about how she's worked or anything, but she seemed very competent speaking to her. So I would be very in favor of that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, the collaborative, the other 8 towns in the collaborative speak very highly of Danielle, so she is very well liked in all 8 communities.
All right, so the plan of action is to double check with HR and make sure we're on track with everything.
Okay.
And there aren't any conflicts. And the next thing would be to put her on the agenda and make sure that she's, aware that she's on the agenda.
Okay.
Awesome. Next topic.
Next topic is a link on the BOH website for mental health and substance abuse resources. Ellen, you want to take it away, or you want me to handle it?
Yeah, I can do it. I received an email directly to me through the Board of Health, but it appeared as though it only came to me for some reason. This young lady, Margaret Thomas, is from Addiction Recovery and wanted permission or to see what our interest was in putting her link, their organization's link, on our page to for informational purposes for anyone who needed these type of services. I had Jack do some background information, a little research, just to make sure that it wasn't that it was a legit site, etc. Jack did that. And it's just a matter of, as Jack explained to me, putting it on our Board of Health informational page. And then obviously Jack, on my behalf, will respond to this young lady that, we discussed it at our meeting, and, whether we decided to put it on our page as a link or not.
Well, quite frankly, I think that's a great thing, because I think we have a real problem, with having addiction issues, and whether it's alcohol or drugs. I think this is great, so that people, often who are just surprised by it in their family, or can see that, oh, you know what, I saw that on the Board of Health site, that there is a place that, I can call, and I think that's a great thing. I definitely do.
Tom?
Yeah, I would concur. I think, and I hate to kind of say it and feel guilty, I think it's an area that we've been sorely lacking in for far, far too long. And I feel bad we haven't really been doing anything prior to this in that regard, especially with what we experienced in the COVID years.
Right.
How it's really skyrocketed. But we've had issues like this come before us from the drug perspective. I think we've actually even attended a couple of seminars, Alan, I believe, right, in the past in Framingham.
Yes, at La Catina.
Yeah. So the drug addiction, alcohol, drug abuse is part of it, but the overall mental health aspect, it's a part of health, right? So I'm all in favor, and I'd even
Right.
be looking to see us even expand even a little bit further in this area, to be quite honest. Yeah.
Alan?
Um,
As a Board of Health,
Yes.
this comes way up high in the
Yep.
health
Yep.
issue. Yeah.
Big time.
I definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a line here. Addictions.com provides free mental health and substance abuse resources people at any stage of their recovery journey, including resources, treatment, warning signs, how to talk to a family member, definitions of different types of treatment, and a local treatment center directory. So I would say that
Yeah.
based on conversation, everybody is just repeating what their statement is.
Yeah, I'm thrilled with that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jack. So if you would post that link on our resource page,
Okay.
and if you, on my behalf, because you'll do it so much more efficiently, respond to this lady on my behalf, young lady, that we had the conversation and that the action that we're taking.
All right, sounds good.
Jack, thank you very much.
Not a problem. Any public comment on this topic? I am not seeing any hands raised, so I believe that topic is closed. I do have an update if we're going to go on to the not reasonably anticipated part of the agenda.
Absolutely.
I just want to let the board know that I am still in talks with E.L. Harvey and Mike Sespan about the contract. He is still working on it. The final piece that we are waiting on is the prevailing wage aspect, which Shelley has asked the state for, which provides that to us. That is the final piece of it. So we're just waiting on that to give to E.L. Harvey in order for us to get the upcoming fiscal year contract. So I just want to keep you guys abreast of the situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah.
My fellow board members, is there anything else in old business that you would like to discuss?
Let me take a quick peek. Hang on.
Just a peek.
Okay, that's good.
No, I think,
I'm teasing you.
what was the, just looking at the, our agenda, item number 3, Jack, what was the green team junk removal? What was that about?
Green
Mattress-
Team Junk Removal. That was when it was about the mattress and box spring ban. E.L. Harvey was $100, but Green Team Junk Removal was $75, and he wanted to be posted on our website. But I didn't know if that would be a conflict of interest of saying, "Hey, pick these guys because they're cheaper," type of thing. But it was decided that no, we want the best price for our residents, so go ahead and put them on the website. So I did.
Cool.
And I think E.L. Harvey would be dancing in the street to not have to take.
Yes.
mattresses.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
have nothing else.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's set our next meeting date and time, please.
All right, so 2 weeks from today would be. Are we going back to a Wednesday?
I don't see
That's
why.
fine with me.
All right, we're gonna go
Sure.
for 2 weeks for a Wednesday. We're gonna be looking at January 18th.
6:30?
Sounds good.
Joyce?
Yes, I'm very happy with that. That's fine.
All right.
I'm more than pleased that you accommodate me when I have these crazy things in my life. So
No,
I'm very
absolutely.
happy.
It's a team.
Well, it's a team that I like working with. So thank you.
I'm forming a list, Joyce. It's gonna
Yes.
cost you a couple of homemade items.
Okay, well, I have Irish shortbread on the plate right now.
I was thinking you should grab one of those gingerbread houses out of the barn.
Well, I've got one sitting right here in the corner over there. You can't see it, I guess.
We'll see how good Tom's teeth are.
Yeah. That one I made in the, like December, maybe 16th. So
Oh,
it's
that's not old enough.
No. No,
That's no challenge for me.
Hey. You'd be surprised because I didn't actually make the gingerbread this time. I used to always make all the gingerbread stuff and that was crazy, but now I just have the little kids, so I say, I'm gonna buy one of those kits and get it all set up and then they
There
can
you
just
go.
do it, you know?
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Greatly appreciate your time and effort. And Jack, as far as that rooster complaint, like I said, I think unless my fellow board members object, 7 days for a response before we bump it up a notch.
Yep, I'll see if I
Okay.
can find a phone number, give them a call tomorrow, get some more information. And I'll see if I can find that the other letter that we sent when me and Tom went down to the other rooster and try and use the same verbiage.
Excellent.
Yeah, we want to stay consistent where we can in the processes for what we have so far, yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
all. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.